We are getting ready to start a unit on functions. And functions, basically what you learned in middle school is it's just kind of a fancy way to write equations. So instead of writing y equals 2x plus 5, you write f of x equals 2x plus 5. There's also a little bit more to it, but we'll go into that more in person in class. Today what we're going to talk about is how to do mathematical operations on functions, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So first we need to recognize the notation. There's two different ways to write addition. You can either write it as f of x plus g of x, or you can write it as f plus g of x. Both of these mean the same thing. It means you add the f function to the g function. Same way with subtraction, two different ways to write it, either f of x minus g of x or f minus g of x. Same way with multiplication, and same way with division. The two notations are basically asking you to do the exact same thing. So let's do some examples. Basically, you would have to be given two functions. So in this case, I've given you the function f of x equals x squared plus 7x minus 44, and I've given you the function g of x equals x minus 4. So then basically you're just going to do the operation that they asked you to do. So this is asking us to do g minus f of x. So in subtraction, order is important. So g comes first, so I have x minus 4 minus x squared plus 7x minus 44. And then as we've learned this year, to subtract in algebra, you just combine like terms. But we have to watch our minus sign. We can either be very careful and do it, or we can use the trick of going through and changing all the signs, distributing the negative into the back parenthesis. So then when I go to combine like terms, the x squared doesn't have one. 1x and negative 7x makes negative 6x. Negative 4, positive 44 equals 40. For addition, so I have g of x plus f of x. Notice this notation and this notation are a little bit different, but remember, same idea. But this is addition. So I'm going to add g of x and f of x together. So I have x minus 4 plus x squared plus 7x minus 44. And addition is even easier than subtraction. We're just combining like terms, but we don't even have to worry about the minus sign. So I just combine like terms. X squared doesn't have one. 1x and 7x is 8x. Negative 4, negative 44, negative 48. So it's just exactly like what we did at the very beginning of the school year. This is the first thing we learned this year. It just looks a little different because of the notation. So g of x times f of x. So again, I have my g of x times my f of x. Remember, when you're multiplying, you're distributing. So first we distribute the x onto the back parenthesis. That would give us x cubed plus 7x squared minus 44x. Then you distribute the negative 4 onto the back parenthesis. And I like to put my like terms underneath rather than extending it out the end, just because it makes it easier to find like terms in my next step. And that would be, oh dear, 160, 176. All right. So then I just combine my like terms, and then I'm finished. So that's x cubed plus 3x squared minus 72x plus 176. That's all there is to multiplication. Again, same thing we did at the beginning of the year. Division, we have f of x over g of x. So I have x squared plus 7x minus 44 over x minus 4. You actually have a couple choices here. You could use long or synthetic division. That's way too much like work. This is basically a rational expression that we need to simplify. So we just factor our numerator, x plus 11, x minus 4, and then our x minus 4's cancel. So x squared plus 7x minus 44 divided by x minus 4 is x plus 11. Sometimes with division, you'll get crazy things that you can't divide. So for example, let's pretend that g of x was 2x plus 5 and f of x was x plus 3. You can't divide those, so that would just be the best that you could do right there. Okay, so sometimes it just won't work out for you. All right, last example. We have 3 times g of x. So basically, instead of multiplying it by another function, I'm just going to multiply it by 3. So I have 3, and then my g function, which is x minus 4, and then I just multiply. And again, to multiply, you distribute. So I get 3x minus 12. Hope that helped. If you have any questions, see your teacher.